Hey, and welcome to another Political Blitz episode where I, Chris Clemens, try to answer your burning political questions in 5 minutes or less. So today's episode has to do with my stances regarding education. I have done this as a long-form video, however, people kind of want to know what my condensed political views are. So very quickly, let me go on ahead and just get in front of the question and say I believe the Department of Education, the US Department of Education, needs to be completely dissolved. And there's several reasons as to why. Number one, it's an unconstitutional department. Nowhere in the Constitution does it give the legislative branch the power to create a department dictating what education policy is for the entire country. Number two, while the intentions of this may have been good, overall it has had a net negative impact on the learning of our students. And number three, the federal student loan program, which is attached to the Department of Education, has overall increased the cost of education for students all over the country and has had a net negative impact in terms of drag on the economy because we have all these students who are graduating with a large amount of debt and then cannot afford to participate in the economy. So let me go ahead and kind of break those down further so I can kind of explain. Number one, Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, nowhere does it say that the legislative branch has the power to dictate education policy. Now, schools are not some brand new concept that have only been around for 50 years since the creation of the U.S. Department of Education. The fact of the matter is, schools were around at the same time our country was being founded, and had the founders originally intended for the federal government to dictate what education policy is or isn't across the board, they would have mentioned so. So the creation of the department overall was unconstitutional. This was something that was supposed to have been given to the states according to our 10th Amendment. So that's where the power should lie, at the state level, not the federal level. Number two, when I mentioned that it's had a negative impact overall for education across the board, we all remember No Child Left Behind and basically the continuance of those policies to force schools to adhere to certain standards and then take tests, standardized tests, to essentially rank each school. This overall has had a negative impact because what it has done is it has shifted the focus from trying to develop learners into productive citizens into turning them into academic citizens. And the problem is a lot of those life skills courses that used to be offered, things like home ec and shop class and mechanics, a lot of the exploratory classes that students would have been given have been done away with because now the focus is on academic subjects like math and science and things of that nature. So now kids are being forced to remember what an endoplasmic reticulum is, even though 99% of the population of the United States has no use for that information whatsoever, and students recognize that. They start to check out early because they don't have any of the exploratory classes to keep them interested in school to begin with, and they also recognize the information that they're being forced to memorize has no impact on their life whatsoever. So we have overall seen more students now checking out completely unmotivated from our education system. And we need to basically be bringing back those exploratory classes, teaching kids how to, balance a checkbook and all of those things that everyone knows they need to know, but recognizes, guess what, they're no longer being taught in school. And that, again, brings me to the third one. The third reason why I think the department should be completely done away with is the federal student loan program has increased demand artificially on our colleges and universities, and it basically allows anyone to get any degree for any reason. Now, that might seem okay, but if you're going to go spend $25,000 on a degree that has no use to society or the economy whatsoever, you just went into $25,000 worth of debt for no reason because you're not going to find a job for that degree. And because everybody's going and getting very generic degrees, those business degrees that used to be worth something, well, everyone has them now, so they're not worth anything now. So we've basically watered down the usefulness of a college education and the value of it. And all we're doing is putting people further in debt, so when they graduate, they can't afford to go buy a car. They can't afford to have kids. They can't afford to buy a house and maintain a house. And that's having an overall net negative effect on our economy. So while there may have been good intentions behind the US Department of Education, I believe that it overall is having a negative effect, and we need to go on ahead and dissolve this $100+ billion program. I hope that answers your question. If you liked this video, I would remind you, please hit the like and share button. I'm not taking donations larger than $100, so every like and every share and every comment is definitely helping out with the campaign. And with that, I look forward to answering your next question.